or with our public comments. And I would like to read, we have certain provisions in place due to COVID, and I'd like to read special presentation, I'm sorry about that. Oh, I'm sorry, we do have guests tonight. So tonight we have a special presentation with my colleagues, from my colleagues at the Rio Hondo College. So I'd like to call up President Teresa Dreyfus, President Superintendent, if you can please come up.
So, Happy New Year, and good evening, Mayor Sanchez, council members, residents, and community members. Thank you for your time tonight to hear about the latest of Rio Hondo College. Before I begin the State of the College presentation, I would like to invite our Board of Trustees President, Vicky Santana, who represents the City of Pico Rivera, to say a few words on behalf of the board.
Is your mic turned on? Your mic?
Yes.
Can hear her.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead and continue.
Okay, so I would like to invite our board president, Vicky Santana, to come out to say a few words.
Thank you, President Dreyfus. Can you hear me okay? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And good evening, Mayor Sanchez and the members of the Pico Rivera City Council. I am pleased to attend tonight's meeting and delighted to join President Dreyfus for her State of the College presentation. This is a commitment we made to ensure that we meet with every city and every 2 years. On behalf of the Rio Hondo Board of Trustees, I extend warm greetings to you and the Pico Rivera community. The college dedication to the residents of Pico Rivera has been strong over the last 8 years, and it continues to be evidenced today. One example of this is the collaboration at the Pico Rivera Educational Center just across the street. I can't believe it's been open since 2016. And even though we have the highest attendance rate, it is not fully utilized. And that's something that we are committed to doing. So on that note, I am pleased to announce that the college will reestablish our Pico Rivera Education Center Advisory Committee to help us identify courses and services that are most needed at the center to support our residents, to support our businesses, and the city. Mayor Sanchez, I am looking forward to collaborating with you during your tenure as mayor, just as I've worked with you and your predecessors. As many of you know, I am always open to exploring new ways of identifying resources for our students and our businesses. At the same time, I remain committed to identifying ways I can best serve the residents of Pico Rivera. So it is an honor to be here tonight. I thank you for your time, and I will turn it over to Superintendent Dreyfus.
Thank you, Trustee Santana. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So back in last year, August 18, our Board of Trustees unanimously approved the mandate vaccinations to our employees and the students. And ever since, we've been very busy to make sure that we all done what we have to do, and the exception with the ones that will have exemptions. As part of our safety preparedness for the spring 2022, especially for spring semester that's coming late this month, our campus COVID-19 task force diligently to ensure the campus safety for all by implementing the most updated county, state, and CDC guidelines. Our HVAC system is maintained and monitored regularly to ensure proper ventilations, filtration with MERV 13 filters, and ionization equipment that will install throughout our campus buildings. I want to mention that with this ionization equipment, our air is like a hospital air. It's very clean. Also, last year, we host 6 vaccination clinics in the campus. And out of these 6 clinics, and we serve 600 vaccinations with 400 individuals last year. And next month, February 17, we are going to have one more vaccine clinic at the campus to our students, community members, to the faculty, staff, administrators, and Pfizer booster if needed and if it's eligible. So what I would like to say is with the recall center for the governor's recall election, Rio Hondo, at our Learning Resources Center, we had the voting center for this recall, and more than 500 people visit Rio Hondo College to cast their votes, and more than 170 hand-delivered their votes at the voting center. We also have a ballot box in the campus. So with that ballot box, a total of 234 ballots were collected at the box. We all know that the financial stability and financial solvency is very important to every institution. Rio Hondo, I'm very happy and I'm very proud to say that financially we are very stable and we are very solvent. Just give you the example, our total 21-22, the board adopted budget, the general fund is $172 million. So what does it represent? Our reserve is $24 million, which is 25.3%, which is pretty high. The state of the California Community College only require 5% reserve on the general fund. So when we adopt the budget, the board adopt the budget, we allocate $23.4 million for the student financial aid from our general fund. We also allocate $27.5 million from the financial aid fund. These are two different funds. And we also received $47.9 million from the COVID federal revenues. And this are including in our adopted budget 21-22. Like almost every K through 12, as well as community college in the state of California, enrollment is declining, and it's continuing declining with the COVID situation. Rio Hondo College enrollment is about declined 10% compared to pre-COVID enrollment, but we work very diligently to increase our enrollment. We call students who skip one semester, I'll bring them back and ask them to add more classes. And also, we established the CCAP agreement with all the high schools in our district and to increase our enrollment as well as the dual enrollment. The next one is career pathways. I also want to say that even though our enrollment is down, the majority of our revenue come from the state general apportionment. And the state is very good with us, with the community colleges, that we have time until 24, 25 to catch up with our enrollment. So until then, we are on the forgiveness, harmless, mode. So lately, and then with one of the MOU tomorrow, the board will approve. One already approved is dual enrollment agreement with the El Rancho High School District. The other one is college and career pathway access that the board will approve tomorrow. And our dual enrollment consists of 104 students from El Rancho High, and then classes ranges from speech 101 to administration of justice that offer at the El Rancho High. We also have agreement, like I said, with the COVID-19 protocols, which we call the College and Career Pathway Access, and the term is from tomorrow, 2022 through June 30th, 2026. We have so many accomplishments in the campus during last year, but I will just mention a few with the constraint of the times tonight. So Department of Ed awarded Rio Hondo College with a talent search program. It's about $1.4 million in a span of 5 years. And this talent search program grant, Rio Hondo College will provide students at the El Rancho High School with academic tutoring, advising, and also financial aid. Also, it also will be support to ensure the students of El Rancho High, they persist, they succeed, they graduate from El Rancho High School District, and complete a program of study and eventually enroll in the college. And that's our talent search grant. We are very familiar with the Tesla, the automotive, and Rio Hondo is one of the 2 centers that the Tesla select about 3 years ago to train our students as an internship. After the training, I believe it's between 12 to 16 weeks of training, our students will be sent to whole United States locations, Tesla, to get a job. And they got a job, and then they were trained by the engineers and the technicians from the Tesla. So this program still continue, and we have so many students got a job with the Tesla. Also, another program from Tesla is Rio Hondo has a new program with the solar panels. Our debate team, as well the Rio Hondo newspaper, they complete remotely, and they got the big wins through the competition. We also know that Rio Hondo nursing student is so popular, and we have a waiting list. A student have a waiting list to get into the program. And I would like to share with the council that 99 to 100% of our students who graduate from our nursing program, they pass a national testing by 99 to 100%. So another one is we also got recognized as a 2021 Student Equity Champion Award by the state. So some more accomplishments I would like to share with the council are Congresswoman Sanchez went to our newly remodeled batting cage and practiced the baseball on our campus on August 12 last year. And during the pandemic, we want to serve our students whatever they need, including distribution of Chromebooks, hotspots, laptops, desktop computers, digital cameras, and then calculators for them from our library staff. And the students are very appreciative of these efforts. We also got awarded for Title V funded UNLESI program. It's about $2.29 million. And of course, with the essential services to the public safety, Rio Hondo Fire Academy, as well as the Police Academy. Last year, they graduated 130 from the Fire Academy cadet, and then 131 Police Academy cadets. We mentioned that we allocate quite a bit of money to the student financial aid, and they are really needed. And as of June 2021, we awarded $41 million to our students. We also, last year, May, we come up with a very unique commencement. We call car commencement. Students are so, and their families, they were so excited to participate in this commencement. We call commencement. Some students even rented the bus together to come to the college to get to go through the ceremony, as well as that some are hired limos together to do that as well. So last year, we graduated 915 students transferred to four-year UCs and CSUs. And we also have about 1,800 students conferred with the arts and science degree in May 2021. Also, out of that 1,800 degree conferred, 1,203 of them are associate degree for transfer, we call it AST. They are eligible to transfer to any CSUs universities. So in addition to that, Rio Hondo is very enthusiastic and very, we work very hard to get the student what they need for the best basic needs. So we also get $432,000 to promote student food and security from CalFresh a grant. Sitting down here, it's Ruthie Ratena, the Director of Marketing and Communication, and we also got a word from Marketing and Communication team implement the California Community College Office Media Preference Survey. Community colleges office want to know the community college students, what are they prefer on the surveys, so to measure the media choice and the consumption habit of our students. And the Rio Hondo was a top 5 through this competition. Also, through the leadership of the board, our trustees of the college, Rio Hondo College was able to receive Aspen Institute grant, and then the grant will enable Rio Hondo College students, first-year students, to complete their transfer level math courses, and also create a pathway for more students to complete their degree and transfer to 4-year universities. So we talk about basic needs. Just during the holiday, a few days after the Christmas, I got an email from the Department of Ed that Rio Hondo got $1 million on the basic needs grant from the Department of Education federal grants. And we are so proud because we are one out of 5 institutions got this award, and in the whole United States. So we are busily working, and this grant will last for 3 years. In addition to this grant, Rio Hondo College also, for the last year, we offer student grab and go for the food, and also we provide student housing through various, partnerships, and we also support students with medical and also mental health support. Also, we had a head count for the homeless students population, and it increased from 86 to 249 students. And we also applied for the student housing implementation grant from the Chancellor's Office from the state. In March, in a few months, Rio Hondo will encompass accreditation visit, and this is a big thing to the community colleges. And we have about over 100 faculty, staff, administrators, students work together to put out this 224 pages of a self-evaluation report. So accreditation, a team visit, when they are going to visit. Originally, they want to come in person, but they changed it, the method of coming to be virtually. They will visit us for a week and then review our documents, how we do, and then give the report. So we are very excited. We sent our self-evaluation, we call ICER, to them about 2 weeks ago. Next one. So we know that through Congresswoman Linda Sanchez, Rio Hondo got the $28.8 million on the COVID-19 recovery funds, and we also appreciate of her efforts that this will help, especially to our students. And most of this, I would say 50% of this dollar amount goes to the student financial aid. So the check was presented to us at the boardroom with a few of us attended. Now, I would like to say that we are in the middle of selecting, recruiting the next president. So I would like to share with you from the campus-wide input and the board as well that come up with this few bios I share with you. That the one is the strengthen Rio Hondo role as a premier HSI throughout California and the nation. and also to lead Rio Hondo College efforts to become a more competitive college in the education market in Los Angeles County, the San Gabriel Valley, and throughout California by focusing on becoming a leader in the economic and social mobility for the students. Also to increase outreach, enrollment, retention, and completion efforts to improve student outcomes, such as closing the achievement gap among our students, especially the men of color, improving success in transfer level courses and statewide initiatives, such as adult reentry and dual enrollment programs. Also, an external ambassador who becomes immersed in the community to engage with business, different industries and school districts, state and federal agencies to create mutually beneficial partnerships. Also, a leader who partners with the foundations and nonprofit organizations to support a college-going culture in the community. Also, an experience developing partnerships with the K-12 and other higher education institutions and labor trade that also provide learning opportunities and pathways to career and greater learning opportunity to our students. So how did we come up to this? And then the college started with the request for proposal, a process, and through the RFP process, the board approved to select the consultant in late September. So between October and November, we work on the presidential bios and timelines, so we come up to the timeline. The important of timeline is on February 4th, it's a target date for receipt of applications. So if you know anybody that will be interested and it's a good fit to the college, please encourage them to apply. And then also the position will be filled, will be open until filled. And another important measure is the board will interview the finalists in late March and also announce in late April the finalist, the selected superintendent president. And then the new superintendent president will start the job at July 1st. So as you can see that even though we are in the era of pandemic for more than 2 years, we have accomplished a lot despite of this circumstance to benefit the student and the resident of the city. And we appreciate all your support in the past and our continued support and partnership. And thank you all. Stay safe and have a nice evening.
Thank you. Thank you, President Dreyfus. Do I have any questions or comments from my colleagues? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to commend President Dreyfus on highlighting their achievements. I wanted to highlight one of the opportunities that Pico Rivera students that are in high school at El Rancho High School have an opportunity to embrace, to level up their education while in high school. I understand, and you did address it clearly, that they can do dual enrollment. While enrolled in high school, El Rancho and students, as well as students in the other high schools that we have in the community, can enroll at the college campus at Rio Hondo, take classes in both institutions, and theoretically, by the time they graduate from the high school, they can be receiving an AA as well. Now, that's an outstanding opportunity for our students here in Pico Rivera to be the best of the best. And I wanted to make sure that that opportunity is readily available because higher education is available. It's just a matter of knowing how to access it. And thank you, President Dreyfus, for offering this opportunity to our residents of Pico Rivera, our students, to do dual enrollment. And it's available at any time. Thank you.
Let's go with the Councilmember Camacho.
Thank you for the presentation. It's great to see you all in person since we've been dealing with each other via Zoom. But again, thank you for the presentation, the information that was provided. The partnership that the City of Pico Rivera and Rio Hondo have established over the years has been, instrumental in moving programs, educational programs forward. And I know through Teresa, President Dreyfus, over the years, you've led this college for many years. They brought you back. I'm glad they did, and you continue leading that efforts and the trustees. And now, congratulations to your newly appointment, President Santana. Thank you for the partnership, and we continue to work on the workforce development, creating new pathways with the partnership that we've been working on their economic development. So I look forward to 2022 and our relationship and continue with that. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Council
Madam Mayor?
Camacho.
Madam President, I'm a teacher at El Rancho High School. I teach a graduation requirement class for seniors. So I have, a pretty good insight as to the relationship and the situation that's occurring right now. Now, in one of your points, you pointed out that there's been a decline in your enrollment. Is that true?
Yes.
Have you noticed a pattern? Is it geographic or, gender or what?
I would say it's the population reduction from the K through 12 students graduate and then filled into the community colleges, and that's a reduction. And also with the pandemic, online teaching, some students may not be used to the online teaching, so they may not register for the classes. So for this coming semester, we negotiate with the Faculty Association. 40% of the class will be teaching in person, and 60% classes will be teaching on remote.
Because the pattern that I'm noticing in my classroom is that there has been a decline in terms of the male interest in enrolling in college. Have you seen that?
We haven't seen that yet.
You haven't seen that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because they seem to be more interested, or a greater number interested in the vocational aspects of it rather than the going into a 4-year college.
I know the state infused a lot of money for the strong workforce programs, CTA programs, and to the community colleges. And we also create quite a few new programs under the CTE strong works programs. Yeah.
Yeah, because my concern is that they're directing themselves to the for-profit tech institutions and so on, which again are not a very good experience. But I know that you have some vocational programs in there. Could you make a greater effort in educating our students of the vocational programs that you have available? Because again, I see again students going off to the for-profit situation and not looking good.
Of course, we will be able to do it. Whatever you need, and we'll cooperate and make it work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Go ahead, Councilmember Lara.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and presenting. I'm always a believer. I believe that the community college system in the state of California is second to none. It's the only educational learning environment where you can have someone who had spent years in prison, people on second careers, people with children, or even just kids realizing that if they go to community college for 2 years, and if I'm not mistaken, one of those years is free.
Both years
Both years are
at
free.
Rio Hondo College.
So going to community college for both years is free, and then transferring your credits to a UC system. That's what I did when I went to college. I didn't have the money to go to a UC system or a private institution right out of high school. So I went to East LA Community College, and then I went to Rio Hondo, and then I transferred to USC.
Wow.
And there's a maturity process also of figuring out what college is like when you go to a community college. So it's really a hub of a great diversity of people. And I'm just grateful that not only did you guys go with the 1 year, but the 2 years of free community college, because now there's no excuse, right? I, the big part is the books, and that's a whole different other topic. I won't even touch on that.
We are working on that.
I got you.
On that, yes.
Because that's the moneymaker for,
Yeah.
for the community colleges.
Yeah.
Anyway, but regarding the nursing program, and for decades, it has historically been a superior nursing program in terms of your pass rate. And I think with the pandemic and given the burnout rate, given the diversity of nursing that's taking place, where you have no longer just people doing bedside nursing for 30 years, they're becoming nurse practitioners, they're becoming nurse anesthetists, so on and so forth. The nursing program is going to need to continue to churn out nurses. Has there been a thought of maybe creating priority enrollment, at least maybe 5 slots per se, for residents of the city of Pico Rivera for their nursing program, like setting aside 5 slots, because you get hundreds of candidates every year on giving maybe priority enrollment to a few residents? It's just a thought to take back and consider.
Yes, we'll take that into consideration and discussion with the nursing divisions, with the faculty and the deans. So I also want to mention that Rio Hondo College is one of the 15 community colleges in the state that we talk about CT programs, that we offer 4-year auto degree programs. We offer the bachelor degrees. And talking about saving monies, 4-year at Rio Hondo College, get the BS degree or be it at the auto tech, saves a lot of monies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
My only question is, how can we or I help you? I am a proud alumna, transferred in 1998, and how can we help you in the college's efforts?
I think partnership that so far you give to us a lot, and I know that we still continue working toward that. And if there's a need in the future, that from the city to Rio Hondo or from Rio Hondo to city, we will communicate and we'll try to work it out, and then beneficial to both of us. Yes.
So of course, we're going to take you up on your offer. So, help us advertise when we have open enrollment, help us get the word out. For our K through 12 dual enrollment, they actually are for free. So if they're going to high school or even 8th grade, I think we started offering some 8th graders classes, it's free to them. Their tuition is covered. And then still on top of that, if they start at Rio Hondo, it's 2 additional years for free. So there's a lot of classes that they could take for free and get ahead. I put my son through 4 years of private college, and it's very expensive. So this is a benefit for families and and students, so they're not indebted. And then we do definitely need to figure out what we're going to use, how we're going to better utilize the center, because we are not having the enrollment. So we're so excited to offer classes, but our enrollment wasn't ready this semester, so we had to cancel those classes. And we fought so hard, to get the center there. I would hate for us to have to make the decision to end our lease with the school district, so we really need to utilize it. But maybe we're not offering the right courses, so that's why we're instituting our advisory council, so that we can put our heads together. What does our community need? People were so excited to be able to walk, not have to deal with parking up in the hill, to be able to take classes right here at home. So let's take advantage of that. Let's do what we can so that our community knows that we're there, that we're offering classes, and so that, there's no, like you said, there's no more excuses, right? Tuition is free. It's in your backyard. Come on, guys. Let's get our educational goals completed.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in today.
I want to add that we offered for on our website, and then the classes for the spring semesters for the Pico Center. We offer the same courses, number of the courses before our pandemic, but enrollment is not there. So I just want to share with you.
Thank you for the information. Thank you. Good evening. Okay, I inadvertently skipped the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance, so I would like to lead us in the invocation. If you could please rise. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for the privilege of allowing the members of council serving as elected officials for the city of Pico Rivera. I pray for those who are in positions of authority and leadership. Thank you for their commitment and dedication for our city. Help us to discern between good and bad choices and to make wise decisions, decisions that will contribute to growth and integrity of our city and work for the benefit of our community. In your name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Mayor. May we all turn and face the flag. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. City Manager, do we have any changes to the current agenda?
Yes, Mayor, we are pulling item number 7 and continuing it to the next council meeting.
Thank you. I have next public comment. We have recognition of 2 written public comments, one in support of the mobile home rent stabilization and mobile home owner protection ordinance, and another one in support is from our new County Board of Supervisor Janice Hahn. The second is a notice by Jared Gonzalez from the Western Manufactured Housing Communities Association in opposition of the mobile home rent stabilization and mobile home owner protection ordinance. In addition, we have some individuals on the call this evening wishing to speak. I would like to read from our agenda. We currently are under certain provisions of the Brown Act that are temporarily waived pursuant to Governor Newsom's Executive Order N-25-20, N-29-20, and AB 31 in the interest of public health and safety. City council meetings are temporarily closed to the public until further notice. City council meetings can be viewed live on CTV3 and the city's website at pico-rivera.org. If you wish to submit public comment on any listed agenda items, you may do so in advance by email, as other members have done, to the city clerk's office, and you may also submit items electronically. So this evening, you can attend and watch through computer or telephone. So each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak, and I think, City Clerk, we have some individuals that would like to speak this evening.
Yes, Madam Mayor, the first person to speak is Alfredo Rosa. Again, Alfredo Rosa.
Thank you. Alfredo, a reminder, you have 3 minutes to speak. And I don't know if you can see it, but we have an orange light here that will blink, and I will alert you that you have about 30 seconds to wrap up your comments. You may begin when you're ready.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Alfredo Rosa. I live in Villanova, 14 years, and I'm calling in support of this ordinance. I'm saddened by the fact that we have to come in here for 3 minutes only and say what we feel. But to be serious, it's not enough time. I will tell you that I've been volunteering since 1965, and I haven't stopped to this present time. I spent 2 years in the Youth Corps, 4 years in the Marine Corps, and 50 years of marriage. So I'm still going at it, And right now I'm dedicating my time to rent control so that we could go ahead and live a peaceful life. When I joined the service and gave my time, it was in belief that when I finished, if I came out alive, that I could still get my education, and the government came through for me. Also, when I paid my Social Security and paid my FICA, it was to make sure that when I retired, I would have Social Security money and pension to be able to take care of me. The government is coming through on that. But no one told me that I had 3 minutes
Now
to
you have
fight
30 seconds.
and
30
and
seconds.
let everyone know how important it is, this rent control. We have 155 units in this community, and we are month to month, and we're desperate to keep our units. I'm 2-3 more increases from being homeless myself. And I see people here that are one-income families, men and women, that are suffering, trying to stay under, just barely pay their rent and maybe have $100 left over for food and other things. So please, vote your conscience and help us. Don't lie to us and come to us and then not support us. It hurts us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling this evening. Next speaker.
Next speaker, Grace Moreno. Grace Moreno.
Hello, I'm here.
Yes, we can hear you. You may begin.
Hello, hi Grace. My name is Grace Moreno, and I'm from the Rio Vista Mobile Home Parks. I just wanted to say that I have been here many times, attending many meetings, and I just want to be sincere that I am growing a bit frustrated. I come here, I voice my opinions. I voice that we need rent control. It's something that many community members want. Many are afraid to speak up because they're scared. They're scared that, oh, there's going to be retaliation, that that the owners might attack or the managers might do something to them. And there's people who don't have the time to come and say that, oh, we need the rent control, because there's many people who are working right now. There's people who are taking care of their children. And me, it's tough too to be coming to these meetings, and that's why I'm growing frustrated, because I come to these meetings instead of being able to take the time to study, to try to prepare myself. I want to go into a career in technology, but I have to make some time and come and voice that we do need the rent control. We need it. I'm scared, how are we going to be paying for the next years? How we're going to still be living here in our home?
Thank you. You have 30 seconds.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next speaker.
Reina Mendeville. Reina Mendeville.
Yeah, this is Reina Mendiva.
We can hear you. You may begin.
Mi nombre es Reina Mendivil. Okay. Vivo en Rio Vista Mobile Home Park, donde son 120 casas móviles y no tenemos contrato de renta. Pagamos mes a mes. El día de hoy pedimos el apoyo a nuestros concejales y queremos hacer de su conocimiento que necesitamos un control de renta por la difícil situación que vivimos las familias que tenemos que pagar por la renta de un espacio, porque aunque la casa móvil es nuestra, la renta de un espacio es muy alto y las familias que vivimos en estos parques de casas móviles somos de bajos recursos, que vivimos de un salario, en su mayoría inmigrantes, muchos que hemos legalizado nuestra situación migratoria y muchos que aún no han tenido esa oportunidad y sufren violaciones a sus derechos y se quedan callados por miedo a represiones del manager o del dueño o X. y son personas que durante todo este tiempo crítico de pandemia no pararon de trabajar. Un día no dejaron caer a este país que nos da una oportunidad. Y pagamos no solamente la renta, también el agua, el drenaje, la basura, la luz, el gas, aseguranzas de carros. Muchas veces se está pagando el carro todavía, aseguranzas de salud, pagamos taxes. Y si el techo de nuestra casa se daña, tenemos grandes gastos en reparaciones. También ayudamos a nuestros hijos, que son la primera generación en ir a la escuela, a las universidades, algunos que sirven en las Fuerzas Armadas de este país. Amamos a este país, el lugar en que han crecido, que están creciendo nuestros hijos, y tenemos toda la esperanza de que vamos a prosperar con el control de renta. Gracias a nuestros 5 concejales, Raúl Elías, Eric Lutz, Gustavo Camacho, Andrew Lara, Mónica Sánchez, les pedimos todo su apoyo. Hoy pueden apoyar al pueblo que un día los eligió. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, señora. Next speaker.
Francis Esparza.
Good evening, Pico Rivera City Council, Mayor Sanchez, and Pico Rivera leadership. I'm Dr. Francis Esparza, Superintendent of El Rancho Unified School District, and I'm here tonight to express my sincere appreciation for the support that our district received in partnership with the city of Pico Rivera over this past weekend. We took a challenge on of testing our students and our staff, and I'm very grateful that at such a short notice, the city staff was able to support our efforts by providing traffic mitigation equipment and by offering suggestions to avoid traffic congestions on passings. Our testing clinics were a huge success, and we were able to test over 7,000 students. I would like to recognize the contribution of our partners and our partnership with the city of Pico Rivera. And I'd like to recognize City Council Member Raul Elias for connecting our staff with the right people to make this happen in the city. I would like to personally thank the city manager, Mr. Carmona, Pamela Ugar, Ana Guillen, Kaylee Torres, Carlos Del Toro, Jose Gutierrez, and all the other Pico Rivera support staff who worked with our team to support this effort. I look forward to continuing our partnership and accomplishing many more great things for our students and our residents of Pico Rivera. We will hold more frequently testing clinics throughout the next few weeks, and we will need the support of the city. And just as a reminder, school starts tomorrow at our regular time, and we are very excited to welcome our students to 2022. Thank you again.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Maria Aguilar.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Maria Aguilar. I'm from Westland State. I represent the 6 mobile home parks in Pico Rivera. And just for a reminder, we are 405 residents, which 250 are month-to-month contracts and do qualify for an immediate rent control if there is one. I also want to thank the following people for supporting the rent control ordinance. That is Andrew Lara, Gustavo Camacho, and thank you, Mayor Monica Sanchez, for considering the community in such difficult time. At least we have hope in the midst of this pandemic. So I want to thank the staff at the same time. And thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Jose Sanchez.
Mr. Sanchez. Let's go to the next speaker. We'll come back to him if he's still on.
Amelia Rojo. Amelia Rojo.
Okay, let's go on to the next one.
Tony Hernandez.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. And I just want to echo what Dr. Esparza said this evening. I personally work with the teams to help build the event that took place this past weekend, and I'm really appreciative of all the support and all the suggestions. Everything was great. And I'd also like to thank Gabriel Castorena, who helped and supported our social media. He did a great job with fielding questions and getting them to the right people. So thank you again, and have a great night.
Thank you. Let's go to the next speaker.
Jared Gonzalez.
Hello and good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jared Gonzalez, and I represent Western Manufactured Housing Communities Association, WMA. I have submitted written comments, but I just wanted to be very brief. I would urge to remove the rent control from the consent calendar and offer further discussion. Looking at perhaps an MOU, a more collaborative approach, as opposed to just a kind of one-sided approach, one where park owners, residents, and the city can get together and come up with reasonable solutions to address the issue. There are some really great examples of MOUs that have worked, that have stood the test of time. San Dimas has an accord that was just renewed for 5 additional years. It has been in existence for 30 years. That's, again, residents of the park, mobile home parks, park owners, and the city together to come up with reasonable parameters for rents, et cetera. Sunnyvale, the city of Sunnyvale, just signed one in the last 2 months. Again, it not only was everybody involved, but even one of the advocates of rent control in most other parts of the state, Gizmo, they also supported that. So I think there is a really good opportunity to address the public policy issues that you want to address, but in a more collaborative way that includes everyone. And so I would urge the council to remove this from the consent calendar and to offer some discussion. And I am more than happy to work with park owners, bring park owners to the table to ensure that something such as an MOU or an accord can be done. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Ryan Kennedy.
Hello. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hello, council members. I'd like to thank you for the time, and I'd like to also have you guys consider voting against rent control ordinance as it limits ownership and putting back money into the communities they own. With the communities that I manage in the city, Villanova and Rio Vista, we have not implemented a rent increase since the beginning of COVID-19. That stands as of 2 years of no rent increases. We have before that, we have not increased rents in those 2 communities above 4%. These 2 parks are considered on the mid to low side of the market. This is why I would like to also join with Jared saying that we would like to work towards an MOU or vote against rent control. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have another speaker?
We can go call of the 2 that we missed before. Jose Sanchez. Jose Sanchez.
Let's see if
Next
the next one
one.
is available.
Amelia Rojo. Amelia Rojo.
Okay, I think that is the end of public comment for this evening. I'd like to also remind the residents that although you have 3 minutes, you still may send public comments prior to any meeting via email, and there is no limit to the length that you like to include. So you can send that to our city clerk's office at publiccomments@pico-rivera.org. So that is still available to you at any time, and all of us council members will receive and read those emails. In addition, I would like to remind my colleagues, we have, in accordance with Government Code Section 54954.2, members of the City Council may only, one, respond briefly to statements made or questions proposed by the public. You may, two, ask a question only for clarification. Three, provide reference to staff or other resources for factual information. Or four, request staff to report to the City Council at a subsequent meeting concerning any matter raised by the public. Or five, direct staff to place a matter of business on a future agenda. City Council members cannot comment on items that are not listed on the posted agenda. So with that, do we have any comments from my colleagues? Councilmember Camacho?
I move motion to approve consent calendar items.
Okay.
I'd like to second that motion.
Mayor, I'd like to pull consent.
Well, we have a
Item-
first. We have a first and a second. We'll vote, we'll do a discussion, or do we vote in favor first? No. we
I
do
just want to
discussion.
clarify the motion, Madam Mayor. Did you make a motion on
Consent calendar.
the consent calendar?
Consent calendar items
Opposed to
1 through
item
3.
3, which is the mobile home park? Because we have,
They're all,
On consent calendar.
they're all under consent.
oh, I'm sorry,
Consent
that is on
calendar,
consent.
1 to
My
3.
apologies. My apologies.
So the current motion is to approve consent calendar items 1 to 3. We have a first and a second, and now we can have discussion, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
or take a roll call on the motion.
So I'd like to call for the question. If I
I'd
could
like
get a
to-
second, if I
I'd
could,
like to
I'm
have
sorry,
discussion.
I'm sorry I'm speaking. Please don't interrupt me. I'd like to call for the question. If I could get a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. And I believe we take a vote for calling for the question because that would end discussion. And then we could go for a vote on the original motion.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council, a call for the question is a call to end debate on the item. That would require 4/5 vote to end debate. So
So I'd like to open discussion. It seems my colleague has a comment to make.
That's fine.
So we have a first and a second, and we'll have a discussion on whichever item 1 through 3.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor, thank you for clarifying, and thank you to our contracted attorney for clarifying that we're in open discussion. So now that we're in open discussion, this is the second reading of the mobile home rent stabilization. There were a couple items that were pending, that were details that were not ironed out in the first reading. So can we ask the contracted attorney to let us know what those details that were in need of iron out, what they have been settled on?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, as your city attorney, the last time this matter came before the council, that direction was provided to our office. That has been incorporated. The only item that was left for consideration was, let me pull that up. The date of the rollback, and that rollback was, direction was provided to establish the date of rollback to, October 13th, 2020. And all other elements of the ordinance remain consistent. The annual registration for mobile home park owners would commence on February the 13th. I'm sorry, no, 14th. Yes, February 14th of 2022. And the ordinance, if it's adopted this evening, takes effect 30 days from tonight's date.
Thank you.
And Mr. City Manager, what is the cost of implementing this mobile ordinance to the city of Pico Rivera? Year 1, year 2, year 3?
Yeah, Mayor, City Council, at this time, it's a little challenging to determine the actual cost of the full implementation of this program. I think as we kind of get through this whole process, we'll definitely identify what that costing and staffing requirement would be. We do hopefully anticipate, if this does pass, to approach the county to see if they'd be willing to oversee and take cases, which would be definitely a benefit for us from a financial standpoint. But that is an unknown number at this time.
As of, I believe, 3 or 4 meetings ago, there was an anticipated cost that was estimated by staff in the hundreds of thousands for year one. What was that amount?
That was for additional staff and city attorney fees as we roll this program out. Again, if we're able to strike a deal with the county to oversee these cases, it could definitely reduce that amount substantially. But again, we don't know the answer to that question as of yet.
What was the amount that staff suggested would be the estimate?
I believe it was about $300,000, which included one additional staff member and possible litigation fees.
And what law firm would be ironing out this ordinance?
That would be our city attorney.
Our contracted city attorney?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Camacho?
Yes, thank you. I just want to make sure that, there was a lot of discussion the last time around. We've debated, discussed. I don't recall any pending items that were supposed to be brought forward. Since we did vote on an item as the first introduction, this is a second hearing. In addition to that, I think we're in the right spot for us to, the next step in moving is in the direction to have the proper registry of this, of the amount of members who can participate. I think the cost, and I've actually just recently had a conversation with our new supervisor, Janice Hahn, and staff as well, which they were highly interested in entertaining the possibility as they've done before. So I think that's a viable possibility, but we won't know those costs and those determinations as to where. I personally think this program will pay for itself on the amount of units we have here in the city and based on the fees we will assess, but that's to be determined. I think we're ready and all information has been provided, nothing pending that I'm aware of. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember Lara.
Thank you. I just want to echo the sentiments of Councilmember Camacho. I too have talked with Supervisor Janice Hahn along with their staff. As you can see, there's a letter before us echoing what she has done previously regarding mobile home rent stabilization in LA County. This applies to the unincorporated parts. And I think that what we're doing is just an extension of that. And she's completely in support. We've also entertained discussions about the county taking over and administering the program. And I think that would be great because then that would relieve staff. That would also relieve any type of monies that the city would have to expend. The county already has this apparatus in place. And this is something that they would just in turn have to enforce our ordinance that we should pass. I think this is a great win for our community. This is a great win for these residents that are really living paycheck to paycheck. And I think it's a matter of having empathy and compassion and also keeping your word. To when you tell people that you're going to support them, that we do that at the end of the day. So I'm happy to support this and get this completed. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember.
I am going to vote no on this, and I want to explain why. I teach economics. I teach economics to the 17-year-olds that are going to graduate and go into the world. And there are principles in law of economics that I insist that they understand, okay, and that they practice. One of the principles is one of rent control. Rent control results in the depreciation of the housing supply and also the quality. That is an economic principle. it also has implications much, much further than just that particular target population. In a situation like ours, a young city that's thriving and it's seeking for development, what we're going to do is that we are going to create an impact, okay? We're going to create an impact in terms of future development, but also in terms of property values. So again, I have to vote no just on the principles, so then I can, the students that are watching me, I have to just, just let them see that, you have to believe and you have to, you have to take those principles into consideration. I think there is another way of being able to solve this problem. I know that there are other ways to solve this problem because the situation is not rent control. When you talk to the individuals, okay, the problem is fixed income in an economy right now. Fixed income in an economy right now. And what we're not doing, we're not solving the problem. Not at all. Because other cities have implemented programs other than rent control that have been able to satisfy the requirements in here. There was a recent study talking about rents increasing throughout the country, about 17%. The solution? Higher income.
Thank you, Councilmember Camacho.
Yeah, I think it's important to clarify that, what we're discussing here and we're approving here, and we've said this throughout the meetings, that we're discussing mobile home park rent stabilization. We're not talking citywide, we're not talking statewide. So although I think we all understand the economic principles and the added conversation debate as it relates to citywide rent stabilization, those economic principles, in my opinion, don't apply to mobile home park rent control. The industry is a completely entire different niche. Mobile home parks, where if you look at the history of the establishment of mobile home parks, will tell you the history and the future of mobile home parks. There is no future in mobile home parks in the city of Pico Rivera. So we don't expect any new investment from mobile home park owners to come to the city of Pico Rivera. So once again, I just want to make sure that we understand that we're talking mobile home park rent stabilization, that economic principles don't apply to, in my opinion. Second, it's one of the conversations that we've been having throughout the state as relates to homelessness, as relates to affordable housing, and the state laws that are being passed that are forcing us to build and push for affordable housing. The problem is that the way the system is set up, it's not set up to build affordable housing. Market rate dictates based on the economic principles that exist within that supply and demand. And so the issue is the policies that are not before us to build affordable housing. So I just wanted to read just an excerpt of Supervisor Janice Hahn's letter that states that, this is one of the abilities that we have in our power to protect and preserve our existing affordable housing, including the mobile home parks. So that applies directly to the residents of Pico Rivera, and hence I think this is the right thing to do for our community.
Thank you. I have a question for our city attorney. When will this take effect, if approved this evening? When will this become effective?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, if it's adopted tonight, state law requires a 30-day period for the ordinance to take effect. So today is the 11th of January. 30 days from now would be, my math is right, February 10th, because we have 31 days in January. So it would become effective on February the 10th, 2022.
And I have been in communication with a mobile park homeowner. There will be no penalization because currently the ordinance reads that they shall register their homes, the mobile units by a certain date. This registration process doesn't exist. So there is going to be no punitive process or anything that's going to hurt them for not registering currently.
Again, there is a registration component to the ordinance. The ordinance itself establishes registration to take place on or before February 14th of 2022. During the next 30 days, that's when staff would have to develop a registration methodology. And the ability for any mobile home park owner to increase rents, one of the requirements is that they have completed the registration, the annual registration requirement. So if the mobile home park owners do comply with that, then the ability to seek increases would be available. There are some limitations on who is affected by the ordinance, which are established and consistent with the Assembly Bill 2782.
Thank you. So in conversing with the mobile park owner, I would like to direct our city attorney as well as staff. I know our economic development director is not here to engage the mobile home owners in this process so they don't feel as if they are being penalized because we know some of these owners haven't raised the rent beyond 5%. And to engage the owners to make them feel like they're not going to be penalized or have any punitive responses. And they could help to advise our process to be effective of how it's going to work in Pico Rivera, if that's a possibility.
It's important to note, Mayor and Council, that a mobile home park owner can still ask for increases, impose increases. The ordinance is, as I indicated, the city is governed by AB 2782, and that piece of legislation affects mobile home leases that are 12 months or less in duration, no matter what period of time that lease was entered into. It also impacts mobile home leases that are more than 12 months in length, but only if those leases were entered into prior to February 13th, 2020. And then AB 2782 then triggers off a January 1st, 2025 date to impact all mobile home leases, unless the law is amended between now and 2025. Now, the ordinance caps the annual increase at not more than 3%. However, it does allow a mobile home owner, if they feel that there is justification for a higher rent increase, to petition for that increase. It doesn't mean it's going to be granted, but then again, if there is significant justification, that could be increased above the 3% annual increase.
Okay, thank you, City Attorney. Do I need a motion to close the discussion? No? Okay, I'd like to call the roll call vote.
Councilmember Elias,
No.
Councilmember Camacho,
Yes.
Councilmember Lara,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Letts,
No.
Mayor Dr. Sanchez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We move on to the next item, to our regular agenda, items number 4 through 6. First item is the item number 4, regarding our review and direction regarding the possible changes to our code of ethics.
City Attorney.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, this item comes before you again to have the council provide some further direction on the current city's code of ethics. This matter has been before you on, initially on August 11th of 2020 for the adoption of Resolution 7098. It came back to the council on September 14th of 2021 for a variety of topics. It came back on October 26th and was held over to tonight's date. The request for further discussion included the discussion of the nepotism policy, also the revolving door restriction expansion from 1 to 5 years, for impacts and repercussions for conference non-attendance or attendance but not attending sessions, a majority of the sessions, and then also harassment policies for elected officials and city staff. Our office and the city manager has presented to the city council a variety of options and alternatives, and in addition, some additional nepotism policies from various agencies, and also revolving door information from the FPPC. At this time, Madam Mayor and Council, we're looking to receive further direction on what areas the council wishes to have brought back at a future date for final inclusion in the current Code of Ethics. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to address any questions from the council.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, council member.
I think you missed one of the ethics that we were talking about too, and that's the action that we take on council members or commissioners that commit felonies or misdemeanors.
Miss Meetings?
That was part of the list.
Okay.
I can show you a copy then.
We can certainly add that to the topics.
So how are we going to resolve this in terms of enacting it? Because we've been discussing this for some time now.
Well, if the council wishes to take topic by topic, I can ask for the mayor to develop a consensus of the council, and based upon that consensus or direction, we will bring back a final version of language for the Code of Ethics.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, how about if each of my colleagues, if you provide your direct feedback either through electronic or phone, however you choose, to our city attorney, that feedback then can be developed into the current ethics document, and then we can then bring that back for approval. So whatever suggestions that you want to include, you can strike through, add, delete, and share that with the city attorney.
So we'd have an opportunity of reviewing before? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we'll provide the timeline. Perhaps what timeline do you anticipate would be reasonable, city attorney?
Yeah, as soon as we get the feedback from council, we can get that at the next council meeting. So if internally we can establish a timeline, maybe at the next one or two council meetings to bring it back, I think that should hopefully be suffice.
Okay. So the direction will be each of us will send direct feedback to the city attorney.
And city manager.
And the city manager, and then we'll bring that back at a future meeting for approval and discussion and review.
Is there a motion, in need of a motion to continue the item?
Sorry,
Is there a need for a motion to continue the item?
that would be appropriate,
So moved.
with the direction the council provide feedback to city manager and city attorney's office.
I second.
Okay, we have a first with Councilmember Camacho, second Andrew Lara. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion's unanimous. Let's go on to the next item, number 5. Review and provide direction regarding Councilmember Elias's proposed resolution to increase the transparency, accountability, and participation of our citizenry in Pico Rivera government. Yes, Councilmember Lara.
Yes, I want to apologize because I haven't met with Councilmember Eric Lutz. This had been punted to ad hoc committee, and we plan on meeting hopefully sometime next week. And then we'd like to bring this back to council with the suggestions, and we can vote each item up or down. That's it. My apologies.
So we'll move to continue this item?
I second that.
Okay. Second by Eric Lutz. Motion by Councilmember Camacho. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
All against?
One opposition? Any, okay.
No.
4 in favor, 1 opposed. Motion carries. Next item is item number 6, the American Rescue Plan Act, allocation of funds recommendation. We have a presentation here. And yes, Assistant City Manager, please.
Yes, Mayor, this time I'd like to turn it over to Angelina Garcia.
Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Tonight, we are pleased to present to you the final ratings for the ARPA recommended projects. This has been, a project that we've been working on for months and trying to strategize to see how we're going to fund all of our unfunded needs that have just been, carried over from years prior. So tonight's agenda, we'll talk about the results of the top-rated projects. We'll also, because the rankings were not done in time to be included in the agenda report, unfortunately, at the end of the presentation, I'll read the recommendations with the assistance of the city attorney and ask you to vote on the recommended actions included in the presentation. We'll also brief you, on the next steps staff will take to report the projects to the Department of Treasury as required by the interim final rule issued just last week. So as you see here, the highest rated projects are the rehab of the pool, less the facilities, estimated at about $6.5 million. And that is net of the grant awards already received, approximating $1.8 million. We've also allocated $4.3 million towards the PFAS treatment project and $4 million to fund our annual pavement rehab project. So in total, that fully allocates the $14,772,455 that was allocated to the city within the ARPA Act. So now we could have stopped here and just funded these three projects. But as council voted for the PFAS water project, we're able to swap out the $4.3 million in water funding that right now is included to fund the PFAS. We can replace it with ARPA funds and have the Water Authority repay the general fund that $4.3 million of its current $18 million debt. Okay? So we're taking restricted money and then we're swapping it out for unrestricted money to have more opportunity to fund our needed projects. So these are the second highest rated projects that we are allocating the $4.3 million to. First, it's the dog park at $1.5 million. Then the HVAC system at Pico Park and Rivera Park. And also the roofs at Rivera and Smith Parks. The list also includes the flock system that was approved at the December 14th council meeting, the workforce development and apprenticeship program recommended or proposed by Councilmember Camacho, and the senior center patio ADA improvement valued at around $800,000. So all in total, that allocates the repayment from the water to the general fund to be able to fund these projects. So the recommended actions before you ask you to receive and file the results of the City Council's rankings of the ARPA funds allocation. And the next two recommendations I'm going to read verbatim so that they can go on record and the city clerk can record the action items as such. So it would be to authorize the staff to allocate the ARPA funds of $14,772,455 for the following projects. The Aquatic Center pool for $6.5 million. The PFAS treatment for $4,272,455. And the pavement management plan implementation for $4 million. Additionally, we're asking for City Council to authorize staff to allocate the water fund repayment to the general fund in the amount of $4,272,455 to the following projects. Dog Park for $1.5 million. HVAC installation at Pico and Rivera Park gyms for $800,000. Rivera and Smith Park roofing improvements for $600,000. ALPR flock system for $340,000. Workforce Development Apprenticeship Program for $232,455, and the Senior Center Patio ADA improvements for $800,000. So that concludes the list of recommendations. Here we have a summary version giving you the full recap of all of the projects proposed. So in total, 9 projects were able to be allocated funds either by the ARPA or by the repayment of the Water Authority to the general fund of that $4.272 million. Our next steps are to, once this body approves the list of projects, then we can report it out to the Department of Treasury by the deadline of January 31st, 2022. So that concludes my presentation. I'm open to any questions this body might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for my colleagues? Lynn? Councilmember Elias?
Yeah.
Yes.
The rescue money. A lot of it's going to the swimming pool. Does that make sense?
So the swimming pool received a total scoring of 20 out of 20 possible points. So it was one of the highest rating.
You know, they asked me how my vacation was for these last 3 weeks, and I had to say that vacation time allows the community to talk to me a lot more. And, you know, they were suggesting to me that these funds should be used in dealing with the problem with the homeless, with seniors, okay, with the, you know, with the situation that we're having with the trailer parks and so on. And it doesn't make sense to me that we're going to be spending, you know, the lion's share on a swimming pool when we have so many problems that are supposed to be addressed with these funds. I don't think that's a question. I think it's a statement.
Yes. I'd like to add, Mayor and City Council, that we will continue to seek other grant funding. This is going to get us to start the process. As we hopefully are successful in getting additional grant money, we could definitely reallocate these resources to other particular uses. So we will definitely aggressively seek additional funds for the pool, the PFOS, and other areas like the PMP implementation. There's a lot of funding out there, both from the federal government and the state in the new governor's new budget, that we'll definitely be knocking on their doors. And hopefully we can reallocate some of this money to stretch that dollar a lot further.
Councilmember Litz?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was looking at other projects. I know all projects can't be funded because we have a limited amount of money. And the money is a combination of the existing revenue generated by the city and monies that are brought forth by the state and the federal government. I do know that for every project that we vote on and implement and spend the city's money, I always like to think of how we can invest in ourselves so that we can generate more money. So I like to have a rule of thumb for every 3 or 4 projects where we're spending money, I'd like to come up with one project that generates money for the city in perpetuity for generation after generation. So when we're long gone, we can say as a council, we unified our resources and we came up with ways to make additional revenue, and one of them being a real estate fund. If we allocated money to a real estate fund, then the city could purchase property and in turn resell it at a higher value or utilize it as rental. And again, it creates income for our residents. That income then can be directly reflected as more money to fix our roads, more money to improve our parks, more money to implement new resources for our community and our members, our residents. I would encourage that all of my colleagues here, we consider allocating some money now or sometime in the near future, but honestly now, redirect some to that real estate fund because we do not want to miss the train. And investing in ourselves so that we can make revenue for our current generation of residents and future generation of residents. What we do now is what we have as results in the future. If we do zero investment in ourselves, we will not have income for our residents in the future. Let's think ahead, let's plan ahead, let's not think always spending money. Let's think of generating money. And I'd like my colleagues to consider that. Please, let's consider allocating some money toward that real estate fund.
Yes, Councilmember Lara.
I spent some time with my son today, and I thought, he needs to get back to swimming lessons. And then I thought, where is he going to take swimming lessons over the summer? He's not going to do it in his city. So that pool is an investment in our children. I get it. It's not a monetary investment, but it's an investment in life skills. And I get the argument about investing for monetary return. I'm all for that. But, it's hard to do that when the roof is leaking, when the water's dirty, when there's so many basic needs that haven't been met for decades in this city. And we had this cash infusion, and we have 100 projects, and every single one of them has merit. Every single one of them has value. But we voted, there's some projects I'd like to see at the top, but they're not. But the score is what the score is. And I'd like to thank my fellow colleagues for considering this, for considering projects, for putting out some of the really creative things. Like Councilmember Lux, that's really creative. I think that has value. But unfortunately, in my opinion, there's other projects that just take greater importance. So that's my comment. I'm ready to vote on this.
Thank you. Councilmember Camacho.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. As was stated by my colleagues, this was not an easy process to rank these items because, we had to rank them not from the mindset of what's the priorities for the city as a whole, but rather what's the priority for utilizing these funds. So in some cases, I think if we would have been ranking based on just overall priority, this hierarchy would be different, in my opinion. But we try to get it in the context of what is the best use of these funds. And I agree with the concept of the approach of, investing $1 and making $2. I think that's the way we should approach things. But I don't always look at it from a monetary revenue or response or a benefit, if you will. I see it as just dividends. Invest in the stock market, you get your dividends. Dividends are community services, community wealth. It's not always just based on $1 for $1. And so I think the value of improving the pool, if you try to quantify the dividends that we get from the public safety, for children participation, the skills, I think we win as it relates to an investment and the return on those dividends. That said, though, I do strongly believe that a real estate fund is an ideal way to go. I do believe we need to, unfortunately, there's not enough funds here, but I do believe we should have a more intimate conversation of creating this real estate fund, because I do believe we need to look forward in that type of investment as a whole. So,
Mayor, if I can be recognized,
Yes.
I'd like to add that I will be bringing back some recommendations to council very soon about potential funding that real estate fund with other revenues that we were able to realize during the last fiscal year. So in addition to that, I think if we take a look and we're able to find additional grants, this council can also direct us that any additional funds could roll over to a real estate fund in the event we find it. So
Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you. I just want to comment. I don't know if the residents were aware, but we did have this huge grid. Thank you so much for creating this. We had a number, 3 pages worth. We've done this round how many? 3 times already, where we rank and discuss and have deliberated amongst ourselves. Unfortunately, we only have a certain pocket of money. 14 million sounds like a lot of money, but it really is not enough to solve all of our city problems. So I think that we were able to identify our priorities, And I like council members Letz's idea about the future of trying to generate revenue, and if we get other pockets, we should look into that. In addition, I would like to challenge staff to think about how can we use these projects to generate revenue. Perhaps someday, I know some of our neighbors aren't fortunate enough to maintain and keep their water rights, and they had to shut down all of their wells. Maybe someday we can generate enough water and we sell to our neighbors and we become a provider. So we can start thinking of ways in which we can generate revenue, maybe from leasing our swimming pool to competitive sports. I don't know if that's going to be an option, but thinking about in that box of how we can use our resources to generate other forms of revenue that wouldn't hurt the city. So that's for future thought. But I want to thank you for your hard work on this project.
Thank you. And if I may add, it was actually $14.7 million that we turned into $19 million. So we weren't only able to fund, what the ARPA allowed us to, but repurpose some of those funds to an additional 6 other projects that we're able to do. And again, this is just the first phase of the reporting, and it's fluid, it's a process, so there could be adjustments, just like the city manager mentioned, if there are secondary funds that could be applied to projects that were already funded by this, we can swap them out and repurpose them elsewhere. In addition, as part of the long-term strategic plan, we are looking for a long-term financial plan to be able to, on an ongoing basis, fund current capital needs from the facilities, the rec park facilities, all city facilities, and to annually be able to put something away for much needed capital projects. So that is not just a one-time issue that we're trying to fix. We're trying to create a 15-year plan as to how we're going to carry out those projects and fund them.
Thank you. Thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And that's to motion to authorize the staff to allocate the ARPA funds for $14.7 million for the projects and programs according to the ranked preference. Second, Councilmember Letts. Okay, all in favor, you may say aye.
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 Any oppositions? Nope. One opposition. And motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item, we move on to city manager's report, staff reports.
Yes, Mayor, City Council. I'd just like to again thank the school district for acknowledging our staff. They worked really hard last minute to provide logistical support and some traffic mitigation measures, and it was a great conversation to have. It showed that we can work together to help our community. So again, thank the school district for that. Also like to let the council know that we continue to have testing at Smith Park. We still continue to have booster vaccinations. In fact, in this Thursday, we may get another pop-up site. This was in collaboration with the Sheriff's Department located here at City Hall to do possibly up to 500 tests a day. This is with a company that's currently working with the Sheriff's Department as well. So I think we're trying to expand our capabilities of testing. I also had a conversation with the city manager of Whittier and possibly collaborating with the city of Whittier. They don't have a location to do testing for the residents. So there's an opportunity that we could possibly share resources to test residents of both the city of Whittier and the city of Pico Rivera. So these are initial conversations, and I just wanted to brief the council on those things. Also wanted to, we also wanted to play a video. As you're well aware, Deputy Albanese was a deputy here at the Pico Rivera Sheriff Station. We dedicated a memorial bench, and we have a video of that dedication ceremony that I'd like to play for this council.
We're here today to honor a true hero of Pico Rivera in our community. On Thursday, February 25th, This year, at 8:58 a.m., our motor deputy, Thomas Albanese, he was 41, was killed in the line of duty in a traffic collision in the city of Lakewood.
Erica and the rest of the Albanese family, this is one small tribute that we can do to Thomas Albanese and the rest of your family. Thomas Albanese protected and served our community and the neighboring communities just as he wanted to do. It was, as I understand, one of his passions, one of his goals to protect and serve and be a motor deputy.
We are truly blessed that we have the amazing relationship with the city that we have here, and so much so that they are mourning just as we are in the loss of Tom. And so, you know, they've gifted our station in memory of Tom this bench, and so it's really a privilege to be able to come together and to include Erica and the boys into our large family.
The bench today signifies not just a symbolic gesture, but yet is a monument to the brave men and women who serve our communities. And Tom's bench will not just serve as a resting spot, but as a reminder to the public and future generations of deputies of Tom's sacrifice in serving the community he worked in. Inevitably, many who pass by in future generations will not necessarily know what type of man Tom was. It is important that the current generation of deputies pass on that legacy to ensure that people understand who he truly was.
Shall cease, I shall possess within the veil a life of joy and
And that concludes my reports.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you. Okay, now we go into the good of the order. This is combined intergovernmental agency meetings, any, for my colleagues, any conferences, meetings you attended, required under AB 1234 to provide a report. This is your opportunity to report out. You may also report any new business or old business if you have any. So would anyone like to share out? Councilmember Lara?
Yeah, thank you. I don't have anything to report under AB 1234, as I did not attend any conferences or anything official that I have to report out. But I do want to talk about, I managed to get online with the LA County Public Health last week with one of their weekly meetings that they have regarding COVID. And we talked about, I gave the suggestion of creating an ambassador program. After dealing with LA County for the past year, as being a council member in the past 2 years in COVID, and also talking to other fellow council members and city staff, our staff from other cities, they've found it very difficult to get a hold of LA County. The communication on a one-to-one level has just been very poor. COVID-19 will predominantly affect minority communities, those communities on the lower end of the social economic scale. Those communities in Southeast Los Angeles, such as Linwood, Compton, so on and so forth, were disproportionately hit. But when you talk to those council members and those staff, you find that they've had very little interaction with LA County, despite the fact that they've reached out to them a number of times, whether electronic email, phone calls, they either don't call back or they're unresponsive. So we created this idea of, well, rather I created this idea of creating ambassadors, where LA County Public Health should consider being broken up or divided up into various districts. And each district would hold a number of municipalities, and there would be an ambassador in charge of that. That ambassador would come to the cities, give us updates in regards to how many people are infected, what's our vaccination rate, what are ways in which we can reach the public. Remember, they're the public health professionals. We are not. we've been trying to figure this out in a non-professional manner without a lot of interaction from LA County Public Health. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to meet with a number of city council members from various cities. Several have already signed on. I've already outreached to USC Public Health, the School of Public Health. They're interested in partnering. And we want to put together an action plan on ways in which we can shape LA County Public Health so that their response is more specific and more tailored. We've already reached out to the supervisor's office, Janice Hahn. Their staff is in favor of the idea. They like the idea. But I think it's something we need to press. We need to ask LA County Public Health, what resources have they allocated to Black and brown communities? And they really haven't. There's just been a lot of reporting of data. There's been a lot of rules that they've implemented, which is fine. But where's the public health component in terms of educating our community, in terms of advising our staff and ways in which we can go forward? That's what I'm seeing from my perspective, and it's something I plan on pushing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have any AB 1234 items to report, but I did on Friday, past Friday, I stopped by the sheriff's station here next door, and in appreciation of Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, I stopped by and I gave some coffee and pastries to our law enforcement, the individuals that take care of us day in and day out. So that was my way of appreciation on behalf of the community. The other thing I wanted to alert our residents, be aware of these illegal pop-up COVID testing sites that are popping up on sidewalks that are not endorsed by the city, that are not endorsed by the El Rancho Unified School District or one of our healthcare facilities. Please don't go to these places and give your personal information so they can steal your identity. Please, let's use some good rationale. And if this location is on a sidewalk, if it didn't come up on the city website or the El Rancho School website or their social media posting, think twice about going to these places and offering up your personal information so they can test you, because you don't know who these individuals are. I know Councilmember Lara is in charge of the Community Health Ad Hoc Committee, and please follow his direction and the locations that he's going to be at, as well as Councilmember Elias. They were both a part of the official testing site that the El Rancho Unified School District did over the weekend. Now that was certified. So please go, residents, only to these events at these specific certified locations, not these pop-up ones that appear on a sidewalk. You have no idea who these individuals are and what they're going to do with your personal information. So just a word of caution. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Camacho?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to, again, I know there's, because of the surge, there's been a high demand with these testing, and I'm glad the city's moving forward as it relates to continue the vaccines, but also the testing that were done at Smith Park. And, but to Councilmember Lutz's point, there have been some unofficial pop-ups throughout the city, and, but also in some cases, some scams going on. A question to our city manager: how many have we shut down, if at all, and what are we doing to promote and create awareness to our community of these potential scams that are going on?
Yes, on Mayor and City Council, I actually was driving through the city over the weekend and noticed a few of these folks. We have code enforcement on the weekends. I dispatched them to these locations. They shut them down. I instructed code enforcement this week to start looking at these types of facilities, validate information. Do they have a business license? Where's the testing lab that they're sending their specimens to? We also have posted social media to advise our residents to be wary of some of these sites. This is information that flows down from the state and also the county. So we're actively pursuing those pop-ups that are not legit.
which more will be probably created just on the demand of, the tests. So hopefully in the near future, when we have so many more tests available, that would be eliminated. But thank you for that. And just really taking this opportunity to thank, our staff, Pico Pharmacy, as we've said it before, just the partnership with our staff, with the Pico Pharmacy, their staff, and just the vaccines, the testing. I think that partnership is well suited and should continue. But just give this for our first meeting of 2022. Just once again, thank staff, our city manager, our city attorney, our directors, our captain, our city clerk, the whole staff. It's been a challenging 2021, and I think you all have done a great job to get us to this point, and I know it's going to be a better 2022. So thank you all for tolerating us. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Elias?
I did attend the meeting.
Wonderful.
I attended the monthly meeting of the COG, Council of Governments, and there were a couple of items that came up. Caltrans right now is providing grants. They have quite a large amount of money for beautification purposes. So I'm hoping that that we're aware of that situation there. I did happen to hear our embassy situation from another council member. I was surprised and impressed, just with it. She got up and she spoke. Well, she spoke and said that she had been talking to, and that you were in the process of the embassy situation. Madam Mayor, I have to. The COG is made up of mayors, so I hope that you. Okay, so then we don't miss any of the meetings there.
Thank you.
But so that was that meeting right there. What I wanted to do is I wanted to ask a few questions there. City Manager, you said that there was going to be a presentation on the contracting and procurement, new procurement policies. Is that going to happen?
Yes, that has been adopted by council formally, and so we are educating our staff. We'll roll that out to our staff. It's a lot of changes. We can definitely keep council updated on that progress.
Okay. And the second item is the MOU on the Veterans Resource Center. We had the opportunity of talking to the Los Angeles County representative that's going to be our service advisor, the person that's going to be responsible for the benefits. Now, you had spoken to him, and what he's done is that he has attended a couple of the advisory committee, and is just a wealth of information and practical, just practices of others and so on. So obviously what I'd like to do is offer you the notes of the advisory committee and some of the practices and maybe shortfalls that we may run into. So then when you do discuss it with the library situation, you're armed with with some information and some good practical knowledge.
Thank you.
Of it. And I thank you for that. It turned out to be perfect. He's a resident. He's active, and again, he's going to be our service representative.
Thank you. If I might comment on that, we will revisit our ad hoc committees and commissions next meeting. So we're going to review that. So there is no formal, as we speak, Veterans Advisory Committee, but we're going to review the processes of our existing committees, perhaps new committees, and that'll be on the agenda for next meeting.
Thank you. And council member, we have applied for those grants.
Excuse me?
We have applied for those Caltrans.
Oh, for the Caltrans?
Yes.
Okay. The other item is some points of discussion for the commission, the Veterans Commission. As you're aware, we got some headlines, on the Whittier Daily News, and we've had terrific response, in terms of the commission and, hey, what's it all about? And so, again, we've been gathering the thinking and of the members right now, the advisory members right now. So, we're going to be able to present to you some ideas, and I don't know how, the process that we want to use for, for voting on the commission, so then we can, get on our way with it.
Yes, I'm hoping at the next meeting an ad hoc could be established so I can get direction from some council members on how they'd like to proceed.
Okay. This other item right here is, the other meeting, we had a recognition meeting on the Pride program. And again, they're funded through donations and contributions. And I'm hoping that, as a council, that we can afford providing them a donation so they could continue the fantastic program that they're operating on. Is there a way, or how can we do it, Madam Mayor?
Would we have a possibility to assist with our community development block grant funds? We could possibly discuss with our economic development director.
Yeah, certainly we can take a look at that as a possibility. Definitely we'll look into that.
Okay, let's put that for new business discussion on a future agenda item.
Okay. And just one last item. As you know, we're going totally to mail-in voting. And I think it's I know it's critical that we begin providing our information in Spanish, okay? 69.7% of the residents in Pico Rivera speak language other than English, okay? With 90% of our population being Latino, we can conclude safely that we have a large Spanish-speaking population. In fact, in the COG last meeting, they talked about and they estimate county-wide, okay, or just the cities in there, that about 50% speak strictly Spanish. Now, again, I think it's going to be very important that we begin educating, okay, and informing our Spanish-speaking population as to what the city is doing and what the issues are. In fact, I've had a conversation with a couple of the council members, separately, obviously, about the fact that we should, and there's been discussions of establishing a media arm or, a community relations, communications for the council and for the administration. Now, again, we have talked about that. What's going to be necessary for us to further that discussion, see if it's feasible?
Again, I'll defer to council to see if that's something they would like staff to look into. I'll wait for direction.
Okay. You can put that under new business. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I'm done.
Is that something you need a second for?
At least to bring as a discussion item?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I just have a couple of things to report out. I did attend the Water Education for Latino Leaders last weekend. That was in the city of Indio. And it's a 6-week boot camp, so to speak, water education for myself. It's a cohort of 14 other individuals, elected officials throughout the state to learn more about water quality, infrastructure, finance, just basically a whole course so I can learn more about our water, which is one of our priorities for the city. So I came back with a whole lot of questions, which I will be talking to our staff and learning, hoping to learn more. So it's really exciting, and I'm looking forward to sharing the knowledge and resources and learning more as well as I go along. Secondly, I wanted to report that I wanted to thank the staff. I had the opportunity to participate in 4 different toy giveaways right before the holiday, right before Christmas. And we had the staff working full force, even though City Hall was closed for 2 weeks. Several of the parks and recreation staff were out collecting toys, delivering toys. So one of them I want to recognize is the LA Sheriff's Department. Thank you to our captain. Councilmember Letts and I were able to attend and distribute toys via drive-through to residents and children. That was an awesome experience. They had a live band. They had the Grinch, who the captain arrested for trying to take toys from the kids in a joke. But it was a wonderful, wonderful event. We additionally had a toy giveaway at the Chamber of Commerce, sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce at the Pico Rivera Golf Course. And those were prearranged toy giveaways with the Plaza de la Raza Child Care Center, low-income families, that get government assistance, as well as Casa Santa Fe through Catholic Charities, a number of really needy foster families and low-income children pre-registered. They received a ton of toys. We also did pop-up. Surprised, we had so many toys. I want to thank the U.S. Marine Corps Toys for Tots program. Also, the Chamber of Commerce had a number of boxes throughout the city where people could bring in toys and donate, including Sapien Salsa Grill, Chick-fil-A. I'm forgetting all of the businesses that did that, but everybody really came together, and just the generosity and the spirit of Christmas that we had. Pico Park was full of toys, and I want to thank the park staff there for dealing with that. We had an influx of toys and donations. We also had I attended a toy giveaway at the American Legion that was planned by the Women's Auxiliary. So there were a number of toys. Pico Rivera children didn't just get one toy. The pop-ups were super exciting. We went to several parks through north and south side of the city. It wasn't announced. It was just a surprise. And we also went to the mobile home parks and different areas throughout the city. Children just lined up and were able to pick out a number of toys. And so that was really exciting and fun. And I had an opportunity to do that. And that is it for our good of the order. I would like to, I think we have a closed session item. Mr. City Attorney, if you can lead us into our conference.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, we do have two items. One is conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. There are two matters to consider. And then also the public employee evaluation matter of the city manager.